You're the lady from Jamaica who called me.
That I am, man. And I can see that you're not at all disappointed, of course. So I'll come straight to the point, as I like to do.
Welcome to the untold story of a Hollywood legend's shocking fall from grace with outstanding legacies that have not been forgotten. Pam Grier, the iconic star of Foxy Brown and Jackie Brown, was once a regular on the popular television show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. However, a display showdown with the show's star Will Smith led to a public dispute in which she was never invited back to Bel-Air again.
I'm sorry. I was completely out of line. Listen, my uncle has a fat problem. I should be more sensitive.
You are so cute.
What led to the dispute and why was there no reconciliation? Join us as we explore the untold story of what happened between Pam Grier and Will Smith. Get ready to be shocked by the details. The unresolved dispute. The Hollywood industry will not forget the impact of the strong and unrelenting American actress Pam Grier. The actress overcame violence and racism to become an early African-American film action hero. In the early 1970s, she was a very influential character, known for controlling weapons, planes, and even her enemies in her movies. Apart from her strength and skill, the actress was known for her beauty. Although her career and celebrity life have been very successful, her private love life has not been without failures. Keep watching as we will soon dive into this. Pam Grier and Will Smith worked together on the popular television show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in the 1990s. Grier played the role of Janice, a love interest for Will's character. Nevertheless, their working relationship was reportedly strained, and they had a public dispute. The exact details of the dispute are unclear, but it's been reported that they had creative differences and personality clashes. In various interviews, Grier has hinted at tension and disrespect on set, stating that she was treated like a guest star and that her contributions to the show were undervalued. She also implied that Will Smith was difficult to work with and that their character's storyline was mismanaged. Will Smith has not publicly commented on the dispute, but it's been reported that the tension between them was so intense that Grier was eventually written out of the show. It's interesting you also know about The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is an American television sitcom Andy and Susan Borowitz created for the National Broadcasting Company. It aired from September 10, 1990 to May 20, 1996. The series stars Will Smith as a fictionalized version of him, a street-smart teenager born and raised in West Philadelphia, who is sent to live with his wealthy uncle and aunt in Bel-Air, Los Angeles, where his lifestyle often clashes with his upper-class relatives. The series was considered Will Smith's star vehicle on television, and later in his film career. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was a top hit for National Broadcast Company, running for 148 episodes over 6 seasons. A reunion special and retrospective reuniting the surviving cast debuted on Home Box Office Max on November 2020. A more dramatic reimagining of the series, titled Bel-Air and based on the fan film of the same name, was given a 2-season order for Peacock and released on February 13, 2022. Keep watching as we will take you through the highs and lows of Grier's career and the shocking incident that led to her dismissal from the show. Guest star. According to various sources, Pam Grier was a guest star on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, 1991, playing the role of Janice, a love interest for Will Smith's character. However, her appearance on the show was cut short due to a reported feud with Will Smith. It's said that Pam Grier and Will Smith had creative differences and clashed on set, leading to tension and disagreements. Specifically, Grier allegedly felt that her character was being portrayed in a stereotypical and demeaning manner, and she expressed her concerns to the show's producers. As a result of the dispute, Grier's character was written out of the show, and she was not invited back for future appearances. The exact details of the dispute are unclear, but it's reported that the tension between Grier and Smith was palpable, leading to her departure from the series. It's worth noting that both Pam Grier and Will Smith have spoken highly of each other in interviews since then, suggesting that any past issues have been resolved. Before we dive into more details, let's review her role in the movie. When Philip's former college girlfriend, Janice Robertson, played by Pam Grier, visits the Banks family, she attempts to seduce an unwilling Will, who is supposed to be getting to know the daughter, Wendy, Elise Neal. Vivian is openly jealous of Janice's presence, which is made worse by overhearing Phil, who says he settled for Vivian after Janice showed no interest. Still, when Philip finds out that Will slept with Janice, he apologizes to her and clarifies that he values his marriage more than anything Janice tempts him with. She accepts his apology but still has him sleep on the couch for his flirty behavior. From all indications, Janice is ML's seductive and manipulative antagonist for the many things she gave me. She is an old college flame of Philip Banks, but Phil never managed to win her over despite his many efforts. When she comes to Bel-Air, Phil invites her over to meet the family, and her presence at the Banks house quickly causes jealousy from Vivian due to Phil's bonding with Janice. She is also the mother of Wendy Robertson, who later went on a date with Will, who won a bet with Carlton over her affections. Later in the episode, Janice encounters Will after his date with Wendy and invites him into her hotel room. After Will enters, Janice shows her true heel persona and begins seducing Will, beginning with appearing to him in a red robe. She later showed Will some vacation photos of Saint-Tropez, as well as one of her hardly wearing anything on the beach, which caused Will to attempt to leave Janice's room in a rush. At that moment, Janice turned heel and informed Will that he was not going anywhere, and later engaged in a romantic affair with Will. The next day, Janice encountered Will again at the Banks household and continued manipulating Will, showing concern only for her appearance if her secret was found out. During a family barbecue, Janice invites Phil to her hotel for dinner that evening, prompting Will to confess to Phil, who is so horrified that he loudly blurts out Janice's secret to everybody. Even after Wendy storms away in disgust, ashamed of what her mother had done, Janice shows no remorse and tries to claim what had happened was no big deal, to which Vivian retorts, "Maybe not in your little world." Janice then tries to put the moves on Phil to get the heat off her back, but he resists and shows his true devotion to Vivian. Janice then leaves the Banks home in disgrace. Now let's go back in time to how it all started. Early life and career. Grier was born on May 26, 1949 in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the daughter of Gwendolyn Sylvia Nee Samuels, a homemaker and nurse, and Clarence Ransom Grier, Jr., who worked as a mechanic and technical sergeant in the United States Air Force. She has one sister and one brother. Grier said she is of Black, Hispanic, Chinese, Filipino, and Cheyenne heritage. She was raised Catholic and later baptized as a Methodist. Because of her father's military career, the family moved frequently during Grier's childhood. In 1956, they moved to Swindon in southwest England, United Kingdom, where her father worked on an Air Force base. By Grier's account, hers was one of the only black families in town, though she recalled that they faced no racism or segregation compared to that in the United States. They didn't care that I was black since they hadn't been raised to hate blacks. Instead, they'd been raised to hate Germans. In the U.S., especially in the South, we were never able to get buses to stop for us. We couldn't eat in certain restaurants, couldn't use certain bathrooms. Up until 1969, there were department stores in which my father and I weren't even allowed to try on clothing. The family returned to the United States in 1958, when Grier's father was transferred to California's Travis Air Force Base, eventually settling in Denver, Colorado, near Lowry Air Force Base. Grier spent part of her upbringing on her maternal grandparents' sugar beet farm in rural Wyoming, where their ancestors had homesteaded after fleeing west via the Underground Railroad to escape slavery. Grier attended East High School in Denver, appeared in several stage productions, and participated in beauty contests to raise money for college tuition at Metropolitan State College. Grier moved to Los Angeles, California in 1967, where she was initially hired to work the switchboard at American International Pictures. She is believed to have been discovered by the director Jack Hill and was cast in Roger Corman's Women in Prison films such as The Big Doll House Women in Cages and The Big Bird Cage. While under contract at American International Pictures, she became a staple of early 1970s blaxploitation films, playing bold, assertive women, beginning with Hill's Coffee, in which she plays a nurse who seeks revenge on drug dealers. The trailer advertised her character as the baddest one-chick hit squad that ever hit the town. The film, which was filled with romantic and violent elements typical of the genre, was a box office hit. Grier is considered the first African-American woman to headline an action film, as protagonists of previous blaxploitation films were men. In his review of Coffee, critic Roger Ebert praised the film for its believable female lead. He noted that Grier was an actress with a beautiful face and astonishing form, and a physical life missing from many other attractive actresses. Grier played similar characters in the American International Picture films Foxy Brown Sheba, Baby, and Friday Foster. Both with the demise of blaxploitation later in the 1970s, Grier appeared in smaller roles for many years. She acquired progressively larger character roles in the 1980s, including a druggie prostitute in Fort Apache, The Bronx 1981, and a witch in Something Wicked This Way Comes. At 1985, Grier made her theatrical debut in Sam Shepard's Fool for Love at the Los Angeles Theater Center. In Above the Law, Grier returned to film as Steven Seagal's detective partner. She had a recurring role on Miami Vice and made guest appearances on Martin, Night Court, and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She had a recurring role in the TV series Crime Story between 1986 and 1988. Her role in Rocket Gibraltar was cut due to fears by the film's director Daniel Petrie of repercussions from interracial love scenes. She appeared on Sinbad, Preston Chronicles, The Cosby Show, The Wayans Brothers Show, and Mad TV. In 1994, Grier appeared in Snoop Dogg's video for Doggy Dog World. Grier was a cast member of the Showtime series Lynx in the late 1990s. She appeared in 1996 in John Carpenter's Escape from L.A., and with the title role in Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown, films that partly paid homage to her 1970s blaxploitation films. She was nominated for numerous awards for her work in the Tarantino film. Grier appeared on Showtime's The L Word, playing Kit Porter. The series ran for 6 seasons and ended in March 2009. Grier occasionally guest stars in television series such as Law & Order Special Victims Unit, where she is a recurring character. In 2010, Grier began appearing in a recurring role on the hit science fiction series Smallville as the villain Amanda Waller, also known as White Queen, head agent of Checkmate, a covert operations agency. She appeared as a friend and colleague to Julia Roberts' college professor in 2011, Larry Crown. Grier wrote her memoir, Foxy, My Life in 3 Acts, with Andrea Kagan in 2010. Now let's dive into Pam Grier's complicated love life. Trial of broken relationship. Grier met basketball player Ferdinand Louis Lou Alcindor in 1969. Early in their relationship, he converted to Islam and changed his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Abdul-Jabbar proposed to Grier that she immediately convert to Islam. Grier refused, and he married a different woman that day. I couldn't make him happy. He called off the wedding because he needed to be with a Muslim woman who was prepared for him. I said, prepared? Like a sandwich? She quipped. Grier met the comedian Freddie Prinze while promoting her film Coffee in 1973. They began a relationship and considered marriage. Prinze wanted her to have his baby, but she was reluctant due to his history of depression and drug addiction. They remained in touch after their breakup. She was one of the last people Prinze spoke to before he died in 1977. Pam Grier hasn't had much luck with famous men, said Larry Getlin in the New York Post. The actress, best known for her roles in the 70s blaxploitation films Foxy Brown and Coffee, met comedian Freddie Prinze at the height of her fame, and she considered marrying him until he got involved with drugs. Coke was becoming a daily thing for Freddie and the rest of his friends, but I couldn't accept it, she says. She then took up with Richard Pryor, who was also a heavy user of cocaine. I'm afraid if I don't do drugs, I won't be funny, he told her. He cleaned himself up for a while but returned to cocaine 6 months later. Pam Grier was romantically involved with comedian Richard Pryor for about a year during the 1970s. However, the Foxy Brown star, 73, still remembers their relationship's impact on her. The pair dated from 1975 until 1976, and their love affair was tumultuous. Grier recalled in an interview with Fox News how his drug abuse contributed to the fall of their partnership. She discussed one moment that occurred in 1980 when Pryor, who died at 65 in 2005, poured 151 proof rum on himself and then lit himself on fire following a cocaine binge. He suffered third-degree burns, and Grier said she refused to visit him in the hospital. "He respected me for my decision," the coffee star said. "Richard had a way of figuring out whether he could trust the people around him. If you hung around him constantly, you were just there for the money and fame. Then he had no respect for you. I would tell him, 'I don't need your fame or light. I need nothing from you,'" she continued. "When I left, I told him I would never talk to him again," she said. "I had no reason to. But as hard as it was for me, I felt he was getting all these opportunities I would never get in Hollywood as a woman." Grier said, "So you go ahead and be a victim. You go ahead and be weak and stupid and squander all these incredible opportunities Hollywood wants to offer you that I'll never get." It's hard to tell that to someone you love, but he had to manage his addiction. He had to manage his talent. "I just couldn't put myself in that situation. I saw him beating himself up and ruining his life," she added. In the Bless This Mess actress's 2010 memoir, Foxy, My Life in 3 Acts, she described some intimate details about her relationships with the see no evil, hear no evil actor. She wrote about how a visit to her doctor led to her breakup with Pryor. Her physician had told her about a medical condition involving a buildup of cocaine residue around the cervix. Her doctor asked if Pryor had dipped his genitals in cocaine before he had sexual intercourse, both oral and vaginal, with Grier. However, she refuted that claim to her doctor. "Not that I know of. It's not like he has a pile of cocaine next to the bed, and he dips his genitals in it before we have intimate," she told the medical doctor. He then asked if Pryor was perhaps doing coke before bed, and Grier noted it was possible. "Oh my God," the doctor said, according to her memoir, "we have a serious problem here. If he's not putting it on his skin directly, then it's worse because the coke is in his seminal fluid." The doctor then wondered if her mouth ever went numb while having oral intimacy, and Grier agreed, to which he had linked to the Novocaine-like effects of cocaine. Grier was formerly romantically linked to Jimmy Big Wheel Wheeler, a famous boxing promoter, Soul Train host Don Cornelius, and basketball player Wilt Chamberlain. Grier was engaged to RCA Records executive Kevin Evans in 1998, but the engagement ended in 1999. Let's delve further into the video to see if Pam Grier was involved in any controversy. Did you know she was diagnosed with cancer? Keep watching to find out. Motivation and hope for many people in America and beyond, especially the female gender. As an actress, she has set some outstanding records, like being the first female to act as a protagonist in an action movie, as men initially played such roles. From all said, it's also necessary to understand that all her achievements did not come like a bed of roses. While Grier has faced challenges typical of a long career in the Hollywood industry, no widely known or significant controversies are associated with her. She has been a trailblazer for African American women in film, particularly the 1970s blaxploitation genre, often praised for her strong, groundbreaking roles. She has spoken openly about her struggles, including assaults, racist discrimination, her battle with cancer, which she persevered until she conquered, as well as relationships with high-profile figures which never ended well. But of all she confessed, which indeed garnered public interest, none has sparked any significant criticism, as these have not translated into public controversy in a way that might impact her professional engagements. Instead, she was celebrated still for her resilience and excellence. Concerning her role in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Pam Grier appeared in a single episode of the series during its 4th season, where she played the role of Janice, one of Will Smith's aunts. In the episode titled "M is for the Many Things She Gave Me," her appearance in the movie was a one-time guest role, and the decision not to bring her character back likely had to do with the show's creative direction and storyline rather than any controversy or specific incident that would have led to her dismissal. In many television entertainment presentations, especially shows and series, guest stars are usually brought in to add excitement or address a particular plot point. Once that plot point is resolved, the character may eventually be no need to return, especially in a show like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which primarily focuses on its main cast and their ongoing stories. However, Scheduling conflicts, availability, and the direction of future episodes also play significant roles in determining whether guest stars return. Pam Grier's character not returning to The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air seems to be a standard decision based on narrative needs rather than any specific reason. Pam Grier is regarded as a well-respected and pioneering figure in the film industry without notable public controversies tarnishing her reputation. Although her private life took a good turn, she has inspired people through her career, her love for nature, and her numerous philanthropic activities. Her work has motivated many, especially women and African Americans, to pursue their dreams and aspirations regardless of their obstacles. Now let's review her battle with cancer. Battling with cancer. But being a black woman in Hollywood hasn't been Pam Grier's toughest challenge. "I was very quiet," Grier recalled of her childhood, and she often struggled to speak fluently when she did talk. Growing up, Grier was a diligent student who dreamed of becoming a doctor. "When I was a young girl, I never thought of acting," she remembers. "I never thought of television, of fans, movie stars, signing autographs. It never crossed my mind." One life-altering experience she had to navigate was her diagnosis of a serious illness in 1988. Grier was in her late 30s, a self-described health enthusiast, running 6 miles a day, not eating meat, and taking good care of her body. During a routine checkup, her doctor found some concerning results and recommended a procedure to address the issue. Afterward, her pathologist called to inform her that the situation was more serious than initially thought. The next day, her doctor gave her a difficult prognosis, telling her she had a limited time to live. Even though her adopted sister Krista had also faced a major health challenge, the news of her own diagnosis was unexpected. "They couldn't start treatment immediately because I'd already undergone surgery, and my body needed time to recover. They gave me only 16 to 18 months to live and advised me to prepare for treatment and make necessary arrangements. I had to take things one moment at a time. I went home to process the extensive information they provided." Grier describes dealing with the illness and its treatment as a full-time commitment and admits that it was a lonely journey. Initially, her mother tried to be with her as much as possible, but eventually she had to return to Colorado for work. Grier's partner at the time didn't show up for her first session of treatment, though he promised to attend the next one. "He didn't come, he just left, and I didn't see him for another 5 years," she recalls without bitterness. In 1988, hearing the word cancer meant, "Oh my God, you're going to die. There is no hope." You quickly learn who your true friends are in those moments. The people who supported her were not always the ones she expected. Those who stood by me were Steven Seagal, Carl Gottlieb, my mentor, and the president of the Writers Guild, and film director Tamar Hoff. They were incredibly supportive, but many people found it too difficult to cope and distanced themselves. Recovery and advocacy. Grier considers herself fortunate and shares that one of the biggest lessons she learned is that cancer doesn't discriminate. People in the treatment center came from every background. It affects everyone equally. She credits a combination of traditional and holistic medicine for her recovery. Her doctor referred her to a specialist in herbal medicine where she was prescribed natural remedies, which helped her body detoxify. This approach, along with yoga and chemotherapy, is what she believes helped her heal. Although she has been in remission for many years now, Grier sees recovery as an ongoing process. She is a strong advocate for the green movement and attributes her healing to a healthy environment, including clean water, fresh air, plants, and a connection to nature. Before overcoming this health battle, she also had to heal from emotional and psychological wounds. At a young age, she experienced a traumatic event while staying with a relative. Despite the hardship, she emerged with a renewed sense of strength and purpose, dedicating her life to overcoming challenges and helping others do the same. Grier's sister, Marilyn Grier, also faced a battle with cancer. Marilyn recalls, "I mentioned a small lump to my doctor during a visit, and he reassured me that it was likely nothing due to my young age. He suggested we monitor it for a few months. At that time, breast cancer was not widely discussed, so she didn't think much of it. 3 months later, after a biopsy and surgery to remove the lump, she learned that it had grown and spread to 10 of her lymph nodes. This meant she would need a more extensive surgery, followed by months of treatment. Going through this was a surreal experience. She remembers the period between the biopsy and surgery, during which she had to quickly educate herself about the disease and make numerous decisions. The truth is, Marilyn didn't know much about cancer. She grew up in a small town in North Carolina, in a close-knit Christian family that spent a lot of time in church. Cancer was not something that was ever discussed in her family. Later in life, she learned that her father, a non-smoker, had passed away from a form of cancer when he was just 34, and she was only 13. Her mother, left to raise 6 children, never talked about how her father had died, making cancer a rarely mentioned topic in their household. Seeking a second opinion, Marilyn wanted to ensure her diagnosis was accurate and felt uneasy with the initial doctor's approach. A friend recommended a renowned surgeon who had been featured in a television special by a journalist also facing breast cancer. During the time between the biopsy and her first surgery, she reached out to family, friends, and her church community for prayers. She was grateful for a strong support network, including co-workers, a buddy assigned to her by the American Cancer Society, who had faced a similar situation, and a support group. She recalls being the youngest person at her first support group meeting, which sparked feelings of anger and frustration. She thought, "Why me? And how did I end up here with women much older than myself?" Despite having days of feeling down and moments of solitude, she found strength through prayer and the unwavering support of those around her. These experiences deepened her understanding of life and gave her a profound appreciation for the connections we share with others. In My Life in 3 Acts, Grier reveals that she also silently endured 2 very difficult experiences. At a young age, she was harmed by a group of older students, and later in her teenage years, she faced another traumatic incident. Fearing the impact on her family, Grier kept these events to herself for many years until she finally felt ready to share them in her memoirs. I wanted others to understand the emotional impact of such experiences and to know that not everyone fully recovers from or survives these challenges, she says about her decision to disclose these events. I have the opportunity to speak about this now and to let others know that despite everything, I am still here. Pam Grier's life has been filled with challenges, but she continues to rise above them, using her experiences to inspire and uplift others. Through her resilience and courage, she has become a beacon of hope, reminding us that no matter the obstacles, we can find the strength to persevere and thrive. Her journey underscores the power of determination and the importance of never giving up, no matter how difficult the road may seem. Grier's story is a testament to the human spirit's capacity to overcome adversity, transforming pain into purpose, and using personal trials as a platform to empower others. Through advocacy, personal revelations, and continuous efforts, she has shaped a legacy of strength, resilience, and empowerment, touching the lives of many who face their own battles. What is your view of Pam Grier's life? Feel free to share your mind in the comments section below. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe. Before you go, click on the video displayed on your screen.